All right, so it happened. The extra project that I have has finally arrived. Just came off the truck today, and it is definitely going to be a project. Right now, it's sitting down on the side of the curb. I got to finish getting the FJ40 ready to go for daily driving before I can pull this one up. But without further ado, here it is. I picked up a 1970 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40. I hadn't really been looking for one, to be honest, until I found this one for $4,000. It definitely has its problems, which I'm going to go through, but I think it was worth the price that I paid for it. So as a first kind of note on it, it was last registered, you can see, in April of 1995. So that is it's been sitting for a while. From what I understand, the original owner was an elderly gentleman who ended up passing away, and his wife didn't have anything to do with it, but she didn't want to sell it, and then it ended up being sold in an estate sale, from what I understand. I could be incorrect on my understanding of that, but coming from the front, it doesn't look terrible. As you can see, the front end is definitely all in pretty good shape. We got Alex to supervise the walkthrough again. So we're doing good on that, I guess. The wheels are the original factory wheels. We're missing the hubcaps for the fronts, but we have the hubcaps for the rears. So pluses and minuses there. But as you can see in this frame right now, this is one of our major rust sections. So coming in here, you can see just how bad it is on that door sill. The door itself is pretty bad too. Luckily, from what I understand, Alex, you need to stay on the sidewalk. Sorry. From what I understand, they make reproduction steel for all of that, which is great. Coming around, you can see the original wheels there. And then coming into the back here, we have our major rust problems on the roof. So the glass on the side here and on the rear is broken. I actually have replacement glass for it. The previous owner gave me in the sale, but I'm still not 100% sure if I'm even going to use that, because as you can see, this is just trashed. And it's a lot of kind of complex metal work that would be required to be able to fix that, and it's not quite as bad coming over onto this other side, but you can still see it's not in great shape. So I'm kind of leaning towards right now just scrapping the hard top and just replacing it with a soft top for now. That would be a lot cheaper, and then down the road what I would probably do is just get a fiberglass reproduction. Gozzard Composites makes all the pieces to make it, or to put one together, and so I may just do that, because in the end you could paint, or I could paint it to where it would look like the steel hard top and it wouldn't rust. So I'm not super sure what I'm going to do on that quite yet, but for the most part, the body tub itself is solid. Like it showed, there's those spots on the front. This corner here has some issues, but for the most part, the steel itself is solid. Here's Emily. She's rolling around on her little four-wheeler. But it could be a lot worse than it is, but it also could be a lot better. Pretty much where I wanted it on project level, honestly. I'm wanting something that I have to do some metal work for, as well as some learning body work and things like that. Coming inside, the interior is musty, but it's not terrible. As you can see, the headliner is falling down on the top, which is another reason I'm not sure I want to keep that. You can see that this roll bar here is not a factory roll bar, but I think I will keep it because we got the jump seats back here, which I also kind of want to keep, and we need to make sure that those are well protected. I may get a different type of roll bar too that does a little bit better at that. So the seats are actually in decent condition. There's not a whole lot of holes in them. So under the carpet, by the way, the towels that you see on the floor there, those cover the glass that the previous owner sent with the Land Cruiser. But under the carpet, I've been able to peel a little bit back, and it's got some surface scaling in a couple spots, but for the most part, it's solid metal. And then crawling underneath it, which I'm not going to do with the camera, the body tub seems to be mostly solid. You can see here, this is kind of cool because it's not something you see very often. This is actually a 3-on-the-tree manual transmission, and then it's got the dash engaged vacuum transfer case, which you can pull that knob there to engage the front axle, and then you use that knob to shift between gears. It also has a front and rear heater, which is, from what I understand, fairly rare. The rear heater being advantageous for the kiddos in the back. Most of the knobs are in pretty decent shape. I'm gonna have to check and make sure how they're, basically I'm gonna have to go through and make sure they're functioning, all those things. What gauges are functioning and not functioning. An interesting thing we've got here, there's a brake controller, like a trailer brake controller, which I don't know why you'd want to have a brake or a trailer on this rig, but some people I guess would. But yeah, so the interior is in decent shape. Definitely gonna have my work cut out with all of it, but at least it's in decent enough shape. And since I'm more of a guy who likes to run around with these kinds of vehicles being completely topless, I am not terribly upset that the top is trashed, because it wouldn't have been on most of the summer and so on anyway. So mechanically, I have no idea how it works or not. You can hear the gas tank is hollow, but like I obviously can't run it right now, because if you come in underneath we're missing a battery. Even if we weren't missing the battery though, I would be hesitant to try and bump it over, just because it has been sitting, like I said, for 25 years. And it is not in the best cosmetic shape. I don't know how that would affect it mechanically speaking, but it's definitely going to be something that I'm going to have to go through and verify that it's working at all. So everything does seem to be actually physically on it though, which means that other than the battery, if I were to try and start it, I could probably get it working. The question of the day though is whether or not I want to. There's not a lot of parts availability for the 1F engine, and the 3-speed manual transmission as well as the vacuum actuated transfer case are both a pain to try and work with. So I'm still kind of debating on what I'm going to do with that. Let me know if you guys have any good suggestions on what a solid engine swap would be for this, and transmission swap. I'm open to suggestions. Oh, so one thing I forgot to mention earlier, see this AM radio here was mounted straight through the VIN plate. So, and being that I bought this with a Washington title, and I would be registering it in Idaho, that would be a problem if that were the only VIN plate. Thankfully, there is another VIN plate that is in the engine compartment. I have checked that that's legible and intact. So luckily we've got that at least. So I can get this titled and registered in my name. But yeah, all in all, this is going to be a great project, I think. I'm still kind of figuring out what I want to do with it mechanically. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with whether I want to keep the hard top or if I want to go to a soft top. Definitely leaning towards swapping to a soft top and doing some kind of engine and transmission swap as well. But you guys can let me know what your thoughts are on that, and I may or may not take those into account. But yeah, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for further work on the rigs that I've got.